Assalamualaikum everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel Literary Glow. Hopefully you are all doing well. So today the topics discussed is what is ideology and discourse, what is critical discourse analysis. Let's start. Ideology is a system of ideas and beliefs that shapes how we see the world, understand our place in it, and make sense of our experiences. It can be defined as a set of assumptions, values, and norms that guide our thinking and action. Ideologies can be political, social, religious, or economic in nature, and they can be shared by individuals, groups, or entire societies. Ideologies often serve to justify and legitimize the status quo, but they can also be used to challenge and change the existing order. For example, the ideology of liberalism emphasizes individual freedom and limited government, while the ideology of socialism emphasizes collective ownership of the means of production and social equality. Ideologies are often expressed through discourse, which is the way we use language to communicate with each other. Discourse can be used to promote, defend, or critique particular ideologies. For example, politicians often use discourse to persuade voters to support their policies, while activists may use discourse to raise awareness of social injustice. Critical discourse analysis is a research approach that examines the relationship between discourse and ideology. CDA scholars argue that discourse is not simply a neutral way of communicating, but rather a tool for constructing and maintaining power relations. They analyze discourse to identify the ways in which it is used to promote or legitimate particular ideologies, often at the expense of others. For example, a CDA scholar might analyze a political speech to identify the ways in which the speaker uses language to construct a particular image of the world and their place in it. They might also examine how the speaker uses language to demonize their opponents or delegitimize alternative perspectives. Here are some examples of ideologies. Liberalism emphasizes individual freedom, limited government, and economic opportunity. Conservatism emphasizes tradition, social order, and the free market. Socialism emphasizes collective ownership of the means of production and social equality. Communism, a stateless, classless society in which all property is owned communally. Ideology and discourse. Discourse and ideology are closely interrelated. Discourse is the way we use language to communicate with each other, and ideology is a system of ideas and beliefs that shapes how we see the world. Ideology can be expressed through discourse, and discourse can be used to promote, defend, or critique particular ideologies. One way to think about the relationship between discourse and ideology is to consider the concept of framing. Framing is the way in which we select and present information in order to influence how people understand it. When we frame an issue, we are essentially constructing a particular version of reality. For example, a news article about a protest might frame the issue as a riot or a peaceful demonstration. This framing will influence how readers understand the protest and the people involved in it. Ideologies can also be used to frame issues. For example, a conservative politician might frame a tax cut as a way to stimulate the economy, while a progressive politician might frame it as a way to benefit the wealthy at the expense of the poor. Discourse can also be used to legitimize particular ideologies. For example, a government might use discourse to justify its military actions by framing them as necessary to protect national security. CDA scholars argue that discourse is not simply a neutral way of communicating but rather a tool for constructing and maintaining power relations. They analyze discourse to identify the ways in which it is used to promote or legitimate particular ideologies, often at the expense of others. Here are some examples of how discourse and ideology can be intertwined. A political speech that uses patriotic language and imagery to promote a particular candidate or policy is an example of how discourse can be used to frame an issue in a particular way. A news article that uses negative stereotypes about a particular group of people is an example of how discourse can be used to legitimize discrimination. A government document that uses technical language to obscure the true cost of a policy is an example of how discourse can be used to manipulate public opinion. CDA can help us to identify and challenge the ways in which discourse is used to promote or legitimate particular ideologies. By understanding how discourse works, we can become more critical consumers of information and become more active participants in democratic society. What is critical discourse analysis? Critical discourse analysis is an interdisciplinary approach to the study of discourse that views language as a form of social practice. CDA scholars argue that discourse is not simply a neutral way of communicating, but rather a tool for constructing and maintaining power relations. They analyze discourse to identify the ways in which it is used to promote or legitimate particular ideologies, often at the expense of others. CDA is based on the following assumptions. Language is not neutral but rather reflects and reproduces social power relations. Discourse is a way of constructing and maintaining social reality. Discourse can be used to challenge and change the status quo. CDA scholars use a variety of methods to analyze discourse, including discourse analysis. This involves examining the structure, content, and context of discourse to identify how it is used to construct meaning. Ideological analysis. This involves examining the ways in which discourse is used to promote and legitimate particular ideologies. Power analysis. This involves examining the ways in which discourse is used to construct and maintain power relations. CDA can be used to study a wide range of discourse genres, including news articles, political speeches, advertising, and academic writing. It has been used to examine a variety of social issues such as racism, sexism, classism, and environmentalism. Here are some examples of how CDA has been used to study discourse. A CDA scholar might analyze a news article about a crime to identify how the language used in the article constructs the criminal and the victim. A CDA scholar might analyze a political speech to identify how the speaker uses language to promote their policies and legitimize their opponents. A CDA scholar might analyze an advertisement to identify how it uses gender stereotypes to sell a product. A CDA scholar might analyze an academic text to identify how it uses language to construct knowledge and privilege certain perspectives over others. CDA is a valuable tool for understanding the role of language in society. It can help us to identify the ways in which discourse is used to promote or legitimate particular ideologies and to develop more critical and informed perspective on the world around us.